Stop what you're doing right now and say Jared Goff's name 5 times fast out loud. This way you won't ever lose to Goff ever again in fantasy. It will protect you. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. These are my Week 11 waiver wire pickups. If you don't know, I'm trying to keep a weekly YouTube schedule, publishing a new waiver wire video every Tuesday, new DFS video, and announcing a special contest this week. I do that every Friday, so make sure you tune into that. And now I'm doing live streams at 7:30 p.m. every Saturday Eastern time. This is the last week of buys. This week there are 4 teams on bye. That's the Panthers, Colts, Jets, and Niners. Now on to the waiver. Case Keenum has been named the starter for week 11, and we know this Vikings offense is on fire. Stephon Diggs is excellent, Adam Thielen is excellent, and surprisingly, Case Keenum has been playing really well. We also have Jay Cutler going against the Bucks. Not a bad matchup. Ryan Fitzpatrick going against the Dolphins. Those two quarterbacks play each other, and we know Jameis Winston's gonna miss at least 1 more week. And in deeper leagues, look for Flacco. Has a good matchup against the Packers. He's only owned in about 10% of leagues. We have Blake Bortles going against the Browns. Teddy Bridgewater, who's now healthy, suiting up, and he might play pretty soon this year. I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll see. And we have Blaine Gabbert in super deep dual quarterback leagues. Just in case Stanton won't play, he has a sprained knee. I don't know if he's going to miss time or not. Just keep up on his practice participation throughout the week. That was a short list of quarterbacks, but surprisingly in week 11, there are a lot of quality running backs to pick up. Devonta Freeman just suffered his 2nd concussion and will likely be out at least this week for week 11. Now, Tevin Coleman, he is a must pick up, a must add in every league. Yeah, I know he's owned in most leagues, but I needed to address this as it's a big deal. The Falcons offense might be starting to get it together as of late, maybe. And Tevin Coleman is going to be a huge benefactor of this. Devonta Freeman was always a huge part of that offense last year, and now Tevin Coleman becomes the starter. There are reports saying that Danny Woodhead might not be ready to go week 11. I don't believe that. I think he'll be able to go, but I'm not there in Baltimore. I don't know for sure. All I'm going to tell you is that he's probably going to play, and if he does, he's going to be the focal point of this offense. Terrence West becomes virtually worthless in fantasy. Buck Allen's value goes way down. He almost has no value, and Alex Collins even takes a hit. Danny Woodhead's going to be a beast in PPR. There's one concern though with him, and that's his health. A guy that probably could have been number 1 on this list is Jamal Williams. We know that Aaron Jones is going to miss 3 to 6 weeks. He should be dropped in an overwhelming majority of fantasy leagues. If you have a lot of bench space, if you're in a deep league, yeah, you're probably going to want to hold on to Aaron Jones, but that doesn't apply to most of us. On top of that, Ty Montgomery also suffered an injury. His seemed to be much more minor, but he is in serious danger of missing at least 1 week as well. With those 2 injuries to the Green Bay Packers backfield, this makes Aaron Jones a top pickup. Okay, Darren McFadden is droppable. Go ahead and drop him, guys. Rod Smith is definitely worth an add. I see Alfred Morris being the starter going forward, but Rod Smith has a chance to take that job and also has a chance to get a lot of carries. I guess now we know that Darren McFadden being inactive all the time, he was really number 4 on the depth chart. Rod Smith is clearly ahead of Darren McFadden. They like this guy, Rod Smith. So Alfred Morris, of course, must add. You know, it should be added in every league. Ezekiel Elliott suspended. But also in deeper leagues, like not necessarily deep leagues, but even maybe a 10-man league, definitely in 12-man leagues, Rod Smith is also worth a pickup. Go ahead and drop Mike Gillislee, and all these other New England Patriots are worth an add. James White is a must-add in all PPR formats. Dion Lewis is a decent add in all formats, and the same goes to Rex Burkhead. We saw the Patriots use running backs to fill in that Julian Edelman role a lot in the Broncos game, but we've also seen this in the past. I think this trend will continue. We may not see it as much as we saw week 10, but we will continue to see it. Gillislee, by the way, 0 carries this last week. He's basically been worthless except for the first couple of games of the season. I don't like Austin Eckler. He's pissing me off because I'm a Melvin Gordon owner in the Couch League. But man, this guy was pretty good. He had some big plays. Another reason I don't really like him is that he fumbled. He had a clutch fumble. I don't think that's going to sit well with the coaches. Still, I have him ranked fairly high on these waivers because the upside is there. With Lacey's injury, look for Thomas Rawls, and Fat Rob is also injured, so look for Samaje Perine. In deeper leagues, we have TJ Yeldon, not bad in PPR leagues. He seems to be the pass-catching back over there on the Jaguars, other than Fournette, of course, the main workhorse. Then we have Theo Riddick in PPR leagues, J.D. McKissick in PPR leagues, and a speculative ad, Corey Clement. Look, I'm not high on this guy. He seems to be the number 3 running back on the Eagles, but he's showed some spark. He's pretty good, and this offense is one of the best in the league. It's a high-octane offense. That's why he's maybe worth an ad in deeper formats. We also have Gio Bernard and Lance Dunbar. A lot of wide receivers, a lot of quantity here, and there is some quality. There's some good ones out here. We have Corey Coleman, who's expected to return this week. Terrible matchup. Probably don't want to start him unless it's an emergency. You absolutely need to start a wide receiver. Corey Davis, a guy I got a few comments about, like, why isn't he on your list? Why isn't he on your list? He's just another tight end receiver. But now that people might be dropping him and he seems to be kind of forgotten, he's made it to the top of the list. He's got 10 targets this past game. He'll be good going forward. I definitely see him have the potential to be the number 1 receiver going forward for the Titans. Will that happen? Probably not. Rashard Matthews is the number 1 guy. Delaney Walker is still there. Both running backs catch the ball. So it might not happen, but I like Corey Davis because he could be dropped. You might even be able to get him off free agency. Don't even need to waste a waiver ad. D.D. Westbrook is also slated to be returning real soon. He is on the IR designated to return list. Mohamed Sanu could be another guy that people dropped, owners get rid of. This is a good week to get him off free agency. Look, he's facing Seattle. He might have been lined up opposite of Richard Sherman on a lot of plays, but not the case anymore with Richard Sherman out for the year. Mohamed Sanu is a sneaky play. Man, you can probably trade for this guy. Trade nothing. You trade a half a pack of jelly beans. Trade a Eden chicken wing, a buffalo wing that's not even from Buffalo, New York, and get Mohamed Sanu. Brandon LaFell surprised me a little bit and got 10 targets. Maybe worth an ad if you need wide receiver depth. We're getting kind of into deeper leagues here. We have Dontrell Inman, the new wide receiver on the Bears, Jeremy Maclin, Marquise Goodwin, who is on bye. Doesn't have great matchups. It's not a great guy to add, but you know, hey, in deep leagues. Mike Wallace, Josh Doxson, and John Brown. And in super deep leagues, we have Zay Jones, Jerron Brown, Josh Bellamy, Kendall Wright, Kenny Golladay, Bruce Ellington, Philip Dorsett, Keelan Cole of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tavares King, the Giants receiver, and Roger Lewis, the other Giants receiver. Really, those last wide receivers I just named off, I fired their names off. You can kind of rank, I don't know how to rank them. You can rank them either way. You know, like if D.D. Westbrook doesn't play, Allen Hurns is injured. Obviously, a guy like Keelan Cole gets a huge boost, right? So just keep track on what's going on. And these guys are just speculative deep league ads, really. Not a lot of good tight ends to pick up. I'm supposed to say like lots of good people to pick up. That makes this video so much more awesome, but it's the truth. I mean, if Jared Cook is not available in your league, he's likely not. If Austin Hooper is not available in your league, he's likely not. There's not going to be a lot of good tight ends to pick up. Hey, it's week 11. We should be thankful there's still some players to pick up. There was some real running backs to pick up and a couple wide receivers in some leagues. Like Cook is owned in 70% of leagues. Hooper is owned 55% of leagues approximately. And we have Julius Thomas, good matchup against the Bucks. Jermaine Gresham, who's actually been getting a lot of targets recently. He's been heavily involved in the pass game. And this seems like a team that's going to probably need to throw in the second half. They're going to be losing a lot of games, and they're going to be playing from behind. We also have CJ Fedorowicz, who's now healthy, and Ryan Griffin has actually been placed on IR. He's injured. We have Jesse James in a decent matchup. Then we have Martellus Bennett, the new Patriot, Adam Shaheen of the Chicago Bears, and Deion Sims, I think, is hurt. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. We know that Zach Miller is injured. He's done for the year. That's for sure. And we have Lance Kendricks, the Packers starting tight end. Should be the starting tight end. As I'm doing this video, I just got word that Curtis Samuel is injured and done for the year. Even though I don't like Russell Shepard, I hate that guy. He might improve a little bit. He might be better. He's going to be worth an add as he'll be a starter on that Carolina Panthers offense. So if you're in a deep league, you need a wide receiver. Also look for Russell Shepard. Where would I rank him? Where would I rank him? I'd rank him like right under Jeremy Maclin or something like that. Right under Dontrell Inman. Something around there like Brandon LaFell. Somewhere around there. I definitely rank Sanu higher. Plenty of defenses to stream this week and for long term. Number one on top of my list is, of course, the Ravens going against the Packers with no Aaron Rodgers. The Ravens have been an elite defense this year, especially in fantasy. And now that they're playing against the Packers, especially with they also have injuries in the backfield, right? It's not just Rodgers. Jordy Nelson has been basically invisible. He's done nothing. No Aaron Rodgers, no Aaron Jones, and a good chance no Ty Montgomery. This could be the best game the Chiefs defense has this year. Don't hesitate to pick them up against the Giants. The Giants could be worse than my 49ers. Probably not as bad as the Browns, but the Giants are they're having a disaster year this year. Let's face it, the Broncos as a team in real life has been a disappointment, and their defense in fantasy has been a complete bust. But I think this is the week where they bounce back. The Broncos' strength on defense is going to absolutely crush the Bengals' weakness on their offense. The only real weakness the Bengals have this year, I think, is their offensive line. And it's a huge, glaring weakness. The Broncos should be able to exploit that. And they should be able to get a lot of pressure on Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's not going to have a good day. This defense, you could rank it anywhere. Look, I love the Eagles' D. If the left tackle of the Cowboys, Tyron Smith, is out, they're gonna fix stuff. Like the Cowboys, they failed a lot on offense because they called the plays and the protection schemes were set up as if Tyron Smith was still healthy, right? They blocked the same exact way. So now that they have time to game plan, they're probably going to be helping out a little bit on that left side. Still, it's not good. It's going to be bad if Tyron Smith is out. We get to see how good Tyron Smith actually was, like as a left tackle in general, and how important he was, how valuable he was to the Cowboys. We got another risky defense here, and one with high upside though. I think the Texans D, if they're playing the Cardinals and Drew Stanton is out, I think you get an extra boost right there. So now we're at the third string quarterback for the Cardinals, and that's going to be Blaine Gabbert. Now, I'm not saying that Blaine Gabbert is much worse than Drew Stanton, but hey, man, all it takes is one pick six, one sack fumble, and the Texans recover it. That's all it takes, and just one big play on the defensive side to make it worth and to make it be an excellent stream this week. And other defenses to pick up is the Bengals going against the Broncos. I know I was just talking about the other side, but this still should be a low-scoring game. The Broncos offense is not a potent one. We have the Saints D, which I kind of keep underestimating every week, and I'm kind of underestimating them this week. I'm giving them a chance to prove me wrong. This is more of a long-term pickup. Like, it's not a streaming option, but Saints D could be a defense you just pick up and start every week. I don't have that type of faith in them. I'm saying you could do that. That's why they're ranked kind of high, but not too high. I think Washington still has a good offense. Then we have the Cardinals defense. This should be a low-scoring game as well, kind of similar to the Broncos-Bengals game. We have the Patriots D going against the Raiders. Now we're getting into deep league territory. The Patriots D has been good, and the Raiders haven't been running the ball as well. I like the Patriots secondary now. I talked about it last week, right? The first 4 weeks, Patriots defense was awful, basically worse than the league. Then after that, the last 5 games, they've been pretty good. I started the Patriots D in fantasy last week, and I was very happy. They got everything. What did they get? They got a fumble recovery, they got a pick, and a return touchdown too. I mean, what more can you ask for in fantasy? We also have the Packers D going against the Ravens, the Bills D going against the Chargers, and the Chargers D going against the Bills. Some really good quality kickers to pick up. Harrison Butker and Justin Tucker, and Jake Elliott, absolutely elite. These 3 are elite. Also really like Will Lutz in general as a kicker. Then we have Josh Lambo, who I talked about last week as being a sleeper and kind of a deep league kicker. He did okay. And this week his matchup is even better, going against the Browns, who allow a ridiculous amount of fantasy points to the kicker position. Kai Forbath is talented. He's really good, having a great season. He's a good pickup, not really as a stream option, but more long-term, and I'd feel comfortable starting him this week just because that Vikings team is so good and Kai Forbath has been doing so good. We also have Blair Walsh, who does very well when we don't start him, and does horrible, gives me -3 fantasy points when we do start him. I'm giving him one last chance. Chris Boswell, I don't know what it is. The last couple of years, he just hasn't really been that good. And another good matchup though. He's got a good matchup. Steelers defense should play pretty well. As long as Big Ben doesn't screw things up and make mistakes, Chris Boswell could be okay. But he's ranked last on my list. Not a guy you can trust. Make sure you guys tune in Friday when I announce my DFS contest, what I'll be doing. I'm trying to bring back the contest, so if they'll let me, I'm going to do it. So make sure you check out the videos Friday. I'll see you guys on the live stream. Those are Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting this couch icon over here. Like the video, and if you're asking a fantasy question, make sure you use #AskTheBrain. I'll see you guys on the next video.